chipsynth SFC
Hey guys, I'm back already wanting to show you another video on chipsynth SFC. I wanted to talk about pitch modulation today, or I guess chipsynth calls it FM. Sorry for my voice, I'm kind of congested right now. I don't feel too hot. I could be getting a cold, I'm not sure. But anyways, so let's go ahead and we'll do this. If you don't know what frequency modulation is, it's basically you're going to be modulating a channel with the amplitude of a waveform from a different channel. So here, let's see if I can play an example. A good example would be, well, Lavos' Scream. Actually, surprise, I'm going to attempt to remake Lavos' Scream in this video here. Kind of unscripted. I did a little bit of research about how it works, but hopefully we can figure it out. I haven't actually tried to do it yet, and we'll see if it works. So that's the sound we're going to attempt to remake. I have no confidence that I'm going to be able to do it 100% perfectly, but as long as we get close and as long as you get the idea of what pitch modulation is, I think this video has succeeded. So before we do that, let's just put together a little quick idea of what happens when you try to pitch modulate. So for example, let's try, got a single cycle wave sawtooth here. Can't hear it because my volume's off. Okay, so that's just a regular, well, I guess it's a filtered saw wave. And let's do a sine wave. So that, just like I talked about in the last video, if I change my poly up, not a last, like an older video, if I change my poly up, then I won't get any, well, I'll get less clicks. Okay, so let's set our sine wave to channel 2. And we'll go into, yeah, we're in Mono-Timbral mode. Basically what that means is when I push a key, everything's going to play. I'll do another video on Mono-Timbral mode in the future, kind of like how I did Poly-Timbral mode, just so that you understand how it works. So, the thing I'm going to do to show you how this works is let's set the course for channel 2 to 0. In other words, the pitch is going to be playing at the regular pitch. And just to show you what pitch modulation is, I'm going to go negative, I don't know, 56. Now, how it works is when you turn on pitch modulation, which is just by enabling the FM on-off button, the first channel is going to modulate the second channel, called the carrier wave, with the amplitude of the first channel. So, for example, both channels have this sine wave on it. Let's make the sine wave larger because if the amplitude is larger, the pitch modulation is going to be more effective. And as you can see, the amplitude is waving up and down. So if I play, let's mute the first channel, and we'll put the second channel up. So if I play this, what you're going to hear is the sine wave playing at a regular pitch, but then the pitch is going to change according to what that waveform looks like in terms of amplitude. So, and the only reason it's doing that is because I set the course, like I set the pitch of that first channel so low. Because if you put it faster, then of course the waveform is going to move faster. But the slower and the lower pitched it is, the slower the amplitude, sorry, the slower the pitch is going to be. So let's play it and we'll see if my theory is correct. Kind of correct. Let's turn it down. It's another good example. That's kind of cool, right? So I guess the idea of most pitch modulation effects is you don't want to go too deep because it just, you don't want a vibrato. What you want is an actual, like, a really fast pitch modulation that causes some really funky effects. So if I go to negative 24 and keep this at 0, it starts sounding like almost like a Genesis. If I start playing around with the ADSR, almost starts sounding like a Yamaha chip, right? You can also turn up the volume and actually hear the pitch that's modulating it. Of course, if I turn my ADSR back up, you'll actually hear it. And maybe I'll turn the ADSR down on the carrier wave so that you can hear the original pitch. It's a really cool effect, so you can make some really neat sound effects with this, especially if you change the waveform. So let's try a sawtooth. That sawtooth filter, what'd I call it? I guess it's a resonant filter. So let's mute the filter, or let's mute the saw wave rather, and let's keep the ADSR fine. And we got the sine wave playing. You won't hear the sawtooth, and let's just hear how it modulates the sine wave. It's kind of neat, right? We go up an octave, it'll start to sound a little bit more like an octave sound. So you get the general idea of it. There was somebody named Emma on Twitter who I asked if I could replicate one of their effects that they were using with C700, and I used it for. I'm just gonna. I guess I think it's in the mono leads. Yeah, it's not. Sorry, I said Emma. It's Emily. Sorry, Emily. Yeah, Emily's crunch lead. So this is kind of the same idea. We got a sine wave modulating from a sawtooth. And the extra channels are just the higher pitch that I set up. These two channels right here, you got the tone, and it looks like actually the sawtooth is the carrier wave, and the sine wave is actually the modulator. So that's actually going to cause a really distorted sound. Let's hear it. That's a really cool sound, right? And you can see here that I have some modulation, some matrix modulation on my wet and dry. I think I made it sound tinnier once the higher you go. So that's just the beginning of what you can do with chipsynth SFC. It's got some really cool effects that you can put together. So now that we know the basis of what SNES FM is like, let's see if we can recreate it. Again, I'm doing this all completely. Well, not really completely. I did some of my homework on how it works, but yeah, we're basically gonna see. I got some notes here, but let's see if we can do this together. Okay, so it's probably easier if I just restart my instance of chipsynth. That way I'm starting from scratch. I guess I probably could have used the initialize patch, but whatever. Cool. Well, I got the North American thing here, so first thing we're going to do, let's play the Lavos sound effect again. Lavos scream. Okay, so that's chipsynth playing it back. Let's listen to it in SPC player. And I use this because I want to look at all the parameters of it. I said in a previous video the chipsynth SPC player is, or chipsynth SFC SPC player is a little bit bare bones. It doesn't have all the actual parameters to show you what it's doing, which I mean is fine. It doesn't need to have that stuff. So that's why I'm using SPC play, and you can see all the pitches. You can see the levels. This column right here is the envelope. You can see how the samples are changing just slightly. Let's listen to it one channel at a time and see if we can't analyze what's going on. So it sounds like our first channel has a, let's change the page. Yeah, first channel has an ADSR going on with a noise, and you can tell because there's the flag there that shows noise is enabled. You can also see pitch modulation. The P is enabled on every other channel, which means it's set so that the channels before it will modulate that channel. Let's see what's on number 2. If I remember correctly, the Lavos Scream doesn't actually mute any of the pitch modulation channels, or the modulated channels, which is fine. It actually adds to the thickness of the sound. But you can, as I demonstrated not too long ago, you can mute the modulation, which means you can have a pitch modulated sound, the carrier wave, and it's completely independent. Like, you won't hear the original modulation sound, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that you could do that until I started analyzing all these SPCs like 5 to 10 years ago. So there's like the main voice for Lavos. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised once we hear how that's made. You can definitely hear a sound there that's very faint, but if you listen to the next channel, it's definitely being modulated by the channel that we just listened to. If we listen to channel 5. So this sounds like a noise, but it's not noise generated. This is an actual sample. And a good clue about that is if you listen to the actual noise sample, it slides in pitch. Like, in fact, if I go over here, you'll see that the pitch is actually changing. This is the pitch range here. It's in hexadecimal. Because the original SNES noise generator can't do that. Okay, let's listen to see what's on channel 6. Sounds like an undertone. Let's listen to 2 and 6. That's kind of neat. Okay, so we have the individual channels. I don't think 7 or 8 has anything on them. I didn't see anything changing there. Yeah, nothing's changing there. So we have the original channels. Now, the best way to analyze what we're going to be doing is in SPC Play, it has a cool function where you can actually disable the pitch modulation. And just to make things easier to hear, I'm also going to disable the echo. Although I do want to note which channels have echo. Let's just play that really quick and we'll find out. Okay, channel 1 is noise, 2 is pitch modulation. Let's set up our channels here. 1 is noise, and we're going to just enable up to 6. I'm going to turn on Poly-Timbral mode. I was debating before I started this video if I was going to use chipsynth's step modulator to do all this. This video would be like 3 hours long if I did that. It's totally possible. You can totally do it in monotimbral mode. But I'm going to use Poly-Timbral mode because I'm more comfortable sequencing with Cakewalk. Once you're comfortable setting up the steps tab, then maybe you can figure it out too. I'm hoping to do that video tonight, but my voice is already starting to hurt a little bit from talking, and I honestly feel like I'm getting a cold. But that's just me whining, don't mind me. So let's go back to SPC Play and let's just get these parameters. So channel 1 has noise, channel 2 has pitch modulation, channel 3 has echo. I forget what the K stands for. I'm sure somebody can let me know. So 2, 3, 5 have echo. So let's just disable the echo on all these. Perfect. So that's how it's set. Now, noise is set for 1. Pitch modulation is on 2, 4, and 6. 2, 4, and 6. I think I messed up. So echo is not on 5. Echo is on 6. And it would be on 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Okay, I think that's better. 5 doesn't have any echo? I guess it doesn't. No, it doesn't have anything, does it? So that's what the sound sounds like without pitch modulation. So you can hear what we're going to do. We're just going to try to replicate that. Okay, so let's get rid of Marcato Link. That's the default sample. And let's, well, I think maybe the retail version has something different, but essentially it's the same sample. Let's load up our... I'm just going to use a single cycle wave. In the original soundtracks on SNES, usually if you were using noise, yeah, you could apply the noise to a sample, but typically you would just apply the noise to like a really small single cycle wave sample, so you're not using up memory. And we'll just call that. I don't care how big it is. In fact, let's just turn the decim all the way down, and even down to 0 is fine, because I don't need it to sound like anything, because it's going to house our noise there. The other thing we can do is we can try to match up the ADSR. So let's see. Now, keeping in mind, I didn't talk about this in any other video, but chipsynth SFC reverses the ADSR on the actual hardware. If you had it on 15, then that would be the fastest speed setting. In chipsynth SFC, it's trying to stay intuitive as a regular synthesizer would, so it actually sets 0 as the fastest attack speed. Which means we're going to have to reverse it. So if we have 3, we're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, so that's 4 settings down, so we're going to go to the top and minus 4. So 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. I don't think it's that loud in the original, is it? That's a little bit too fast. Let's turn it up to 12. I think 12 is the right one. Okay, I found the pitches that I want. Let's set up our MIDI tracks really quick. So I'm going to... Oh, I wish there was a faster way to set up MIDI tracks in Cakewalk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sure there is. I just used to doing it this way. So I'm going to use channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, 4, 5, 6. Load our console really quick so that I can set up the tracks. Okay, so holding control, I'll click the drop down, choose chipsynth. That'll change all of them. Then this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So I don't really need to assign the sample on channel 1. I believe the only one I'm really going to have to assign is channel 3, because if you look at channel 3, it changes the sample three times. Actually, I think channel 4 does it too. Yeah, it does. Oh, that's funny. Channel 3 is using sample 4, 1, and 6, which coincidentally is the area code of the hospital I grew up in. That's your clue of where I was born. Okay, so just going with that. You get a cookie if you can figure it out. Sure, everybody cares where I was born. Okay, so again, because channel 1 is noise by default, and I'm not going to be changing the track. Actually, the first thing what I want to do is go back into chipsynth. And then I just remembered, I'm going to shut off the auto assign because that's just going to mess up all my channels. So auto assign is off, which means I have to tell chipsynth through patch changes or other means, maybe modulation, how to change the patches here. There's not a lot of sample changing, so I think I'm probably just going to use patch changes in the channel. Let's try to remake that part. Now the amplitude is supposed to modify the pitch modulation on channel 2. Oh, it's too slow. Or too fast, rather. So as you probably could guess, channel 2 is a choir sample. So that's an interesting effect. I wonder how he's doing that. Did I just see echo turn off and on? Interesting. Okay. So channel 2 does have echo, but it turns on halfway through. That's interesting. So let's set up a modulator for that. So I'm gonna turn on add modulation. I'm gonna check a MIDI. I'm gonna go for controller 91. And then turn it into a switch. I'm gonna go deeper into how the mod matrix works later. Okay, so channel 1 and then echo. Okay, so basically what I just did was on controller 91, if I'm above 64, if my value is above 64, which is what switch is, anything below 64 is off, anything above 64 is on, it will turn on the echo for channel 1. Oh, actually it should be channel 2, shouldn't it? Okay, it will turn on the echo for channel 2. You guys didn't hear that. We're going to leave control and function blank because we don't need any secondary devices modifying this modulation at all, and that should be good. Now, I think what I want to do is figure out what that pitch is happening, like what that pitch is. Let's check the pitch and then we'll slow it down. %. Sounds kind of like an arpeggiator, doesn't it? So I have to grab that sound. I don't have that sound in chipsynth yet. Let's play that sound, this SPC again. Gotta find it. I'm gonna be looking for that SPC a lot, because every time I close the instance, it's going to lose its memory. Okay, Lavos screen. Let's grab that sample. And now I got the choir right here, which I will assign to sample or channel 2. Guess it helps it. The keyboard by default will only play channel 1 if you're in Poly-Timbral mode. So to test it, I'm going to have to load up the keyboard here in Cakewalk. And again, I don't need to assign a patch because the patch is assigned through the plugin. See if I can replicate that arpeggio. Oh man, it's so fast. Chipsynth, you can go a lot slower than that. Let's hear how it sounds. I'm gonna turn it to... Oh, it happened again, didn't it? Oh well. CT. Maybe I'll try to keep this window open so I don't have to keep finding that SPC file. I'm gonna go to CT, Lavos. If I could just remember what Lavos is, it should be easy. 75. Okay, let's turn the speed all the way down to 0.01. And you can hear there's a slight vibrato on it too. So just so that I don't forget, let's just set the vibrato, which automatically should be set in the matrix. Yeah, but because by default the vibrato is set to controller 1. Let's turn on modulation for channel 1. I'm just going to turn on a very small vibrato. In fact, I got too much there. Good. Turn it down. Just to make sure the vibrato is working. Okay, so let's play it again. Oh, chipsynth. Let's play it in chipsynth at a very slow speed so I can hear what that arpeggio is doing. Oh, wow. Wow, okay. Good. We got our little arpeggiator there. This isn't going to be perfect, but it'll be close. Let's try it. It's kind of cool, but it's not fast enough. Wow. Okay, that means I got to change the pitch sensitivity. Let's go all the way. Oh, I just did it again. Then, instead of fiddling with continuous controllers and pitch wheels, I think I'm just going to set up an envelope here. I'm not a huge fan of Cakewalk's envelopes, but as long as I'm not looping, it should be okay. I believe it also, I think we were talking about how it starts the echo too, doesn't it? So let's do that really quick. Okay, so about 5 seconds in. About right here, I am going to turn on my echo. So let's add a modulation, or a controller rather, 91. And I'm just going to turn on, I only need two. One at the beginning is going to keep it off, and one about here is going to turn it on. So when I play this back, you'll see that the echo on channel 2 is going to enable itself. As you can see. And it doesn't work because I didn't actually set it. Because the song still, or a quote-unquote SPC song, is still in memory, I'm just going to click grab echo, and now it should work. Cool. Okay, 2 out of 6. The next one shouldn't be as hard as that. That one was hard because I tried to figure out the arpeggiator. I should probably save my project. Let me just warn you guys, always save your project, especially with a computer you have like mine. It tends to crash a lot. Save. Okay, next one. What are we working on now? What's on channel 3? Oh, channel 3 was... Channel 3 was the patch changes. How are they doing that? I think it's a volume change. Oh no, it's a pitch change. That's interesting. That's a really cool sound. Let's slow that down. I want to analyze that. So it's going so fast, it sounds like a generated tone that's being made on the fly, but it's actually just one sample playing at different pitches very fast. You can see That's not a note playing over and over. That's a really fast amplitude modulation. Looks like we're going to be using the step modulator. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to play the same note, then I'll use a pitch bender with the velocity going down. And then the next one's just going to be a really long note fading in very slowly. Which means I need to make a modulator for that. Kidoki, Matrix, we're going to add a modulator. And I want to add a global modulator for this one. Chipsynth SFC has one for... Set it to channel 11, or controller 11 rather. Linear. And then we're just going to set it. Chipsynth SFC has a voice function, amplitude, detune, transpose. The voice function maps itself to whatever MIDI channel you're telling it to use. So if I choose voice amplitude, then I set this to scale, which is a volume function, then technically the amplitude is going to affect whichever channel you tell it to affect. And we'll get to that in a second, but I need to, I need that again. I need to grab the samples first. So let's play channel 3 back. Five. Let's grab this. This is another sampled noise sound. Going very slow. And we just grabbed 3 samples. First one was that low noise sound effect, which is just a very quick single cycle wave file. Next one is another single cycle wave file. These are the ones that Chrono Trigger used for sound effects. It seems that the third one is the same sample. Let's try that again. I'm just gonna delete those really quick. It is the same sample. Interesting. Okay. Whatever. Works for me. So the first one... Channel 3 is one where we are probably going to need to change patches. That is so cool how it's turning out. Cakewalk has a weird issue where if you have a note playing where a patch is playing at the same time, it puts the patch priority after the note playing, so it causes the patch change not to go through. Really annoying. I'll give you an example. If I have that playing there, I move this here, watch the patch. It moves to the second row. And because of that, the first note plays and then the patch changes, which is totally not what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to mitigate it by pushing plus, boom. Play this at the regular speed again. It's probably not the right sample, but it's okay. It'll get close. Okay, so it just did that again, didn't it? Sure did. I'm just drawing the volume right now. That's good. Let's change the patch. That patch change doesn't work. I'm gonna have to send that as a bug report to Cakewalk. Patch change, we're gonna change this to 2. Because I got a new note playing, I'm just gonna make the volume maximum. So I'm just doing that re-trigger effect. Lucky for you guys, I'm fast forwarding the parts. to simulate, well, not even simulate, to change the pitches. I could do it by hand, but honestly, that's way too long. And why do it the hard way when you can do it the easy way, which is changing the pitch bend? Just set it back to... Set it back to 0. Whatever, it's close enough. So it might be a little bit too steep. Let's lower this instead. Good. Save it because I'm worried about it crashing. And then I think it's time to make that modulator, that step modulator. I'm going to go deeper into this in the step modulation video, but here we go. Let's set up a step modulation. For channel 3, that's going to be amplitude. I'm going to enable it. I have no idea how fast it is. I think it's super fast. Okay, so I'm going to loop it forever. Not going to play it. We're going to loop it forever, reset each note. That's fine. I'm going to set the den to 256, and we're going to set the number to 4. I'm sure it can go faster than that, but I just want to hear how this sounds. Okay, so that should cause a tremolo effect. Now I want to be able to control it, so let's assign it to, I don't know, what's a good one? I think, I just need a random one. Whatever, let's use 93. Okay, and then we're going to choose linear. So what this is telling you is that in the mod matrix, I have a step 2, a step modulator, which is this one right here, that currently is going to be 0 because I don't have any effects applied to it. But when I do assign effects to it on on controller 93, I always say that, then that's going to change the depth range to 100% if I go to the top. So I'm not modulating, like I'm not automating, sorry, the depth of this. All I want to do is set it when that third note plays. So right now we're going to set up controller 93. I'm going to keep it 0. I got my quantizing too fine. Let's do 2. I'm going to set this to 0, which means the effect, the tremor effect is not going to, or tremolo effect is going to be 0. And then we're just going to slowly come in with a little bit higher resolution than that. That tremor effect isn't working. I think maybe I forgot something. That tremor effect wasn't working because Cakewalk crashed on me. Okay, we're back. So it didn't actually have any issues. Actually, I should... I think I broke something. Bear with me a moment. Let's check. Yeah, I don't have anything here, so let's remove that. Okay, so I had it set up correctly. It's just what ended up messing up was my Cakewalk was about to crash. So what I ended up doing was saving it and then reloading it, and of course the effects started working. So just to explain what I'm doing, let's expand this a little bit. So you can see here that I got that first sound with the volume going down. And then you got the second sound where the volume's not changing except for the velocity, but you can see the pitch bend going down. And then the third sound is just one long note, but you can see that the volume is slowly coming up, which I have set here. That's controller 11. Set to a squared function, which tells channel 3 to raise its amplitude up, scaled to the main volume that's set already. And what step 2 is doing is I have that set to 0 because... oh, I messed it up. I have controller 93 controlling it. Set to 0 at the beginning. But this big line right here is telling it to play at full volume right at this bar. Well, not full volume, full range at that bar, which is going to cause this step modulator right here to modulate the amplitude 4 of these bars every 256th note 8 times as fast as how much the BPM is. So that's super complicated. I'm not going to go into it in this video. When I start talking about steps, I'll explain it. But all you really need to know is that it's set up that this is going to play this this envelope extremely fast. So now when I play it, you should hear a very fast, almost a ring modulator effect, and it's actually using the clicking sound of changing and well, it's not even ramping, of changing the volume very quickly. So let's hear how it sounds. I'm going to shut off this loop. So you can hear that it's, again, it's going to go down. The second part is going to do the pitch bend downward, and then it's resetting the pitch back to normal, but turning on this very fast step modulator, envelope I should say, to have the volume change very quickly at full range, which is what that's doing, while also still being affected by the gradual volume fade in. Cool. So that means we have 3 channels done. Let's hear how it sounds let's hear how it sounds so far. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. I guess that helps if I unsolo everything. Not bad. Not super accurate, but it's still pretty dang cool. Close. That's interesting. I set that to 4 steps, and it's showing me more than 4 steps. Huh. I wonder if that's a... I don't know how that happened. That continues happening. I'll take a look. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is listen to channel 4. Channel 4 hopefully isn't as complex. Cool, we get to play with step modulators again. So this is changing samples, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Or maybe I will. I'm interested to hear what sound that is. Let's load up the SPC again. Ha! That's the ha sound. If I play that faster. That's funny. It's so subtle you never even notice it. It's, I don't need to grab that sample, I already have it. I'm gonna skip the ha sound because I don't need it. I'm just doing an approximation. I mean, I can do it, but it's honestly, it's really not that needed. You'll never hear it. Okay, step 4. Yeah, the sound like this. Can I get this? Legal. You find this side. You find yourself next to it.  1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, There's a tremolo effect going on in there too, so let's turn on the step modulator for that. We'll make one on number 3. Channel 4, amplitude. Again, we'll set it to 4 steps. Maximum. The cool thing is this is playing out throughout the whole thing, so I don't have to do anything fancy for that. Or what it looks like. Let's slow it down. Oh, there's a really fast vibrato too. Let's delete this for a second. Let's make a really fast vibrato for channel 4. Detune, and we'll set it to 4 steps. We're going to use a unipolar. Let's lower the range of that a bit. Speed it up. I think that's as fast as it's going to go. Let's do this. Should cut it in half. Good. I'm sure I could probably set it faster, but I don't want to fiddle with it right now. Cool. And I think we had a little bit of a sine wave volume thing going on there. It wasn't as fast. We'll set it to host. Steps. Let's go with 32. Do 32 steps every 64th note. That should make it pretty fast. So now if I set the function and I do a sine wave, maybe I'll lower that a bit. A little bit higher. Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. That's got the tremor sound to it. So what happens if I linked these two together? Interesting. That is cool. A little bit more growly in this one. I think it's because this is actually not a volume fade-in. This is probably an ADSR. So I wonder how I'm going to fix that. I got an idea. I'm glad you guys are seeing this. This is me working and trying to solve something. So let's do this. Let's erase all of this. Set you to maximum. Okay, that's fine. And then save it really quick. Let's grab whatever's on 3 again because it's the same patch. But I can do this. Give it a very slow fade in. See what happens when I do that. Then I'm gonna go in here and I will set this to my next patch up. I think that's patch 4? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4. So if I set that to 4, now the ADSR should cause that effect to slowly and gradually fade in. Let's hear it. Cool. This is me when I'm excited. Okay, let's try 5. We're almost done this thing, man. We're about 3/4 of the way through. It's channel 5. There's no ADSR on that, so it's all using volume. Which means 6 shouldn't fade in like that. Cool. And the reason why 6 modulates a little bit more in that middle part is because the pitch in number 5 is actually pitching down very, very low. You hear that part? The pitch bend going super low, right there. And that low pitch is causing number 6 to go crazy. Right there. Cool. Okay, so the volume's modulating, but you could barely hear it. That's okay. I think I'm going to just leave it, but I'll just replicate the pitch of it. I really need to keep this instance open. Okay, 75. Oh no. You can hear the clicking, which means you can that clicking is actually what they intended for the sound effect. That's interesting. Wow, they really knew how to pull every single little feature out of this hardware back of that, didn't they? Okay, let's take a look at that sample. This is technically a noise sample. We're going to set that to channel 5. Channel 5. Also, I think this note is a little bit too loud. So I'll lower that velocity. Yeah, that's good. That way it's not overpowering. Number 5. Get that pitch again. That's super interesting. It sounds like they're changing that patch, that sample in real time. So grabbing that noise sample is impossible. That sample is changing. So there's no vibrato on it. Any special flag on that? No. If any of you guys know what's going on with that sound effect, that would be really cool to know, because that is not a sample. At least that's not the sample that's in memory. I think that sample's being updated in memory in real time, kind of like how the pitch pulse width modulation does it in the last boss theme. So we're not going to be able to replicate that sound. Chipsynth SFC can't update samples in real time like that, so I wonder if I can kind of supplement it with... I know I have a sound effect, noise sound effect here somewhere. Filtered noise, there we go. This is a sample I made. Let's hear if it approximates it pretty good. Okay. Now this next part should be as simple as just making a pitch bender. Let's make a pitch bend, MIDI wheel. Okay, we have to create a modulator for the volume. Or do I already have one? I'm pretty sure I made a general. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I have a modulator for 11 already. That means I can go to 5. Set up my controller for 11. Controller 11. And fade it in. I don't think I'm doing it right. Okay, try this again. Oh, I'm an idiot, that's why. I'm not an idiot, I chose the wrong channel, so I'm going to choose voice and then amplitude. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the other sound. Good. Just a little inconsistent, so let's just... That's good enough. Make sure that other one didn't get messed up. That's good. Okay, channel 5 is done. Let's listen to channel 6 again. Something's happening with channel 6 that's causing it. It sounds almost like a ring modulator. Slow that down, see if we can see what's happening. Yeah, there's volume stuff going on there. And a little bit of a vibrato. Okay, so we'll just assign the choir to channel 5. And we'll set the modulator on channel 6. Set the modulator on channel 6. Set it to a very low setting. Oh, come on. And then we're going to set the pitch bend. Oh, I should set up a step modulator for the volume too, because I saw it modulating a bit. So we'll set up 4 already has something. Let's go to 5. We'll set up channel 6 as an amp. Turn it on, make it as fast as I can. 32 all the way up. Just set it to 4 steps, maximum, low, maximum, middle. That should cause it to do something. Good. So let's set this to pitch wheel. And oh, I wish there was a quick way to go to 0. Cakewalk, you need to fix your modulation. Your automation, I should say. You know what? Cakewalk, if you're listening, right-click, set to specific node per value. That would be amazing. It's hard because I have the pitch bend depth set to 48, so I have to be very fine with my details here. It almost looks like an ADSR. I gotta make it a little bit more fine, which means I gotta go deeper. Good. Alright guys, let's hear how this sounds. I'm really excited about this actually. Remade Lavos Scream using chipsynth SFC. Let's go! Okay, so it's not perfect, but you get the idea. Kind of makes me wonder how they did it back in the day. Cool. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it. If you like what you see here, subscribe. I'm gonna try to make a couple more videos tonight, and hopefully I'll have them up by tomorrow. It all depends on how fast I can edit everything. I want to show you the matrix again in more detail. I want to show you the step tab in way more detail as well. Although you've gotten a very good taste about what both of them can do. Can you imagine if I did all of this in the step tab and the matrix using nothing more than Mono-Timbral mode, and just like all you do is push a key and it just plays the sound effect? That would be crazy. I'd be spending like 5 hours trying to figure out how to do it properly. Who knows? Fingers crossed. If I get bored enough, I'll do it. And with the next upgrade in chipsynth SFC, you will probably see maybe you will probably see maybe a new preset with it. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Okay, guys, we'll call it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.